Colleen Sturbe, and I want to ask you a question. Are you having a hard time giving presentations when you're networking? If so, this is the show for you. Uh, let's get going. Hey, welcome. Welcome back to the MinkLife Motivation live shows, and we've got some special guests with us today. We've got Monica Henderson, of course you guys all know her, and Amy Lanci, who's been here before. We're going to have a great conversation today all about your networking and your presentations while you're networking and helping to really have them be more engaging. So let's meet our co-hosts and start off. So Monica, how has giving presentations helped you on your entrepreneurial journey?
So presentations have been kind of crucial to my entrepreneurial journey. I am an introvert. I have social anxiety. I do not like talking to strangers or random people or just people in general. But I have found myself in a position of needing to present myself, whether it's on a small stage or a one-to-one or a large group of people, over and over again in order to prove that I deserve to get the business of other people. So presentations have been a critical part of everything from building MinkLife Motivation to starting this live show to having a bunch of one-to-ones so that I can find those thought leaders, change makers, coaches, and experts. And had I not done those presentations or put myself in a position to do presentations on a regular basis, none of us would be here right now. So it's crucial.
Amy, how about you? How has giving those presentations out there helped you build your entrepreneurial journey?
Gosh, I could take Monica's answer and just put my own branding on it, but I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. But basically, I ditto how presentations have helped me on a personal and professional level. Personal level because I too am a natural introvert. In fact, I start off very, very, very shy. And in fact, if you find me in a networking group right now, I'm more likely to feel small at first before I start to warm up to everyone. And so presentations have really allowed me to interact with people one-on-one and be able to show who I am without compromising myself, without feeling like I have to puff up my chest and pretend I'm something I'm not. I am not a fake it till you make it kind of gal. So presentations have allowed me to really connect and just be me. And because of that, it's allowed me to get clients from conversations, as well as I can actually recall a very specific moment when I got my first corporate client from speaking on stage at a women's summit where I had no idea there's going to be any chief HR officers in the audience. So that was just a testament of, you never know who's going to be in the room, as well as how your words are going to impact those people.
Yeah, I remember, when I was in college, I specifically took the speaking class in the summer because it was a very shorter time period. I knew exactly I had to get it done. And back then it was like 2 minutes. Oh my goodness, what am I going to talk about for 2 minutes, And now look at us, you can't shut us up, right? But it's like, I think when you're out there and you're doing your presentation and networking and you're speaking from your heart and the passion of what you do in your business, that it comes naturally, right, for people. So, and it's just about like, how can we tweak that and do that to help people get engaged more and make sure that we're, talking their language so that that they get excited about talking with us, right? So
what's super funny that I just wanted to piggyback on what she was saying was you never know who's going to be in the audience. You never know who it touches, and you will run into them again later because
Yes.
I was looking crazy on my way to the gym one day. I had on my joggers and my hair was like got on a hoodie, and I'm walking down the street with my nephew, and the lady stopped me on the street. She's like, Monica Henderson? And I'm like,
Oh,
yeah,
sure.
I was at your presentation at the City Club, like, the Breakfast Club meeting
Wow.
all these years ago. And it was pre-pandemic. And this was like, this was like a month and a half ago, right? So all those years later, she remembered who I was because I gave that
Yeah.
presentation. So you just never know who's in the room and how long that impact will be.
Well,
Yes.
yeah, and I mean, especially with social media now, right? So everyone's typically watching, right? And you don't know who's watching. And a lot of times people aren't engaging at the time, they're not commenting, but they're watching and they're finding out about it. And, I have that happen. And it's like someone says, oh, well, you're out all the time. You're doing all this stuff. And like, okay, you kind of feel weird because it's like, oh, okay, I guess you're watching. I guess I'm getting out there, right? So,
Right.
and I forgot to tell people, also people, if you are watching this show, we want you to be engaging and engage with us. Ask us questions. Tell us about what's happening with your presentations, what you're coming across. Answer the question. This is really all about engaging and bringing everyone together. So all the knowledge out there is all to be shared. So we would love for you to comment, and you're part of the show too. So let's go to our next question. So we want to get motivated with today's hot topic of presentation. So why is it important in networking to have an engaging presentation? I'll start with Amy this time.
Because when you don't engage the person in front of you, they're not going to engage with you, and that looks like not listening. That looks like not paying attention. That looks like they're just not interested in what you have to say. And you have a lot of really important things you got to say in order to get to the people you need to get to, in order to help the people that you need to get to. So it's really important to know your cadence, know your story, know what you're really all about, and be really in touch with that. Because when you do that, the people in front of you, they may or may not be ready for you, but they know somebody who is ready for you. And also they like what Monica was saying, people will remember you for years, and you only get one chance to make that first impression. So it's really important to get people to listen, so that way they remember you. And then also here's a data collecting perspective. Like, when you give enough presentations and you have people coming back to you, whether that's right afterwards or days or years later, whatever they're talking about, if more than one person is talking about a certain thing you talked about long ago, then that's a sign that that's your signature thing to talk about. Like, oh, I need to talk about that. That's what people remember from me.
Yep. Monica, how about you? Why is it important to be engaging when we do our presentations?
Because I don't know about any of you, but I really don't like giving presentations. It's not my favorite part of my job. And so I like to have engaging presentations because I don't want to be bored giving the information. It's like there's so many parts of, yes, engaging your audience, and you want them to have fun, like Amy said, with you, and kind of like hear you and be like attentive, and like they take the phone and they put it down and they focus in on you. But
Yes.
also, it's like, no one said, when I grow up, I'm going to be a boring adult, and I'm going to like stand in front of them and I'm going to talk to them until they fall asleep and slump over in their chair. No one has ever said that. And if you are that person, then, more power to you. Don't invite me to your presentation. If you're not that person and you said, when I grow up, I'm gonna be a freaking rock star, whatever I do, and I'm gonna be amazing, and I'm gonna have fun, and I'm gonna enjoy my life. It's important for you to have an engaging presentation because it's important for you to have fun. And if you're not having fun, the people around you are not having fun either. If you laugh, they laugh vicariously with you or at you. I don't mind when they laugh at me either. But I always know my presentation is good if I'm having fun, and I'm having fun in interacting with the people in my presentation. Then I know they're having fun too. and I have their attention. And so I have been known to bring a beach ball to presentations in person because I don't do any of the work. I let my audience help me do some of the work when I do presentations, just because how many times have you been to a stuffy business meeting and someone was given a presentation and they sat there and required you to take notes and just sit there, right? And I'm like,
Yeah.
we got a beach ball, we're going to play, we're going to bring out the best in you. And so I believe it is so important to have fun, because when you have fun, everyone else has fun too.
I love that.
Yeah, I love the fun aspect, you know, and it's the I always like, when I do presentations, I like to engage the audience with questions and so forth, because it you know, I feel like I don't want to just lecture to someone and give you information. I want you to like interact and ask questions and really understand the concepts and have fun while doing it, right? And you know, when we're talking about engaging with people, it's like you know, the old, you know, I always say the know, like, trust, and remember factor. So if they remember having fun, or you say something, you know, about being different, you know, a lot of times we go to networking events and there's people in the room that do very similar things that you do. You know, maybe there's another realtor or mortgage, or, you know, the insurance or finance, or there are people. So you need to engage in them and be different. So adding that fun factor, you know, coming at it from a different perspective, and not just saying the same thing over and over and over again, is really how you will engage your audience. So,
It's so true.
Oh yeah.
So our next question, we're going to get into the stay inspired section. So, how did the lack of understanding the importance of this engagement affect the way you were moving through your life and your business? So, Monica.
Yeah. So when I first started in the coaching space, like I was like, okay, I'm going to be a serious business person, and I'm going to go out there and I'm going to do serious businessy things. And I dressed the part, you know, very corporate, and I got all of my papers together, and I was like, they're going to take me seriously. And I realized, after having lots of conversations, being very serious, that the only people that really connected with me when I broke character, right? When I was like a little quirky, or a little odd, or a little silly, which is who I am to the core. I mean, through and through, I am a silly person. And those were the moments where I actually broke that barrier of curiosity, right? Before then, I was just another person in the row of coaches, right? And I'm in a room full of coaches at a networking event trying to be serious. And I can help you break through this, that, or the other. I can help you, you know, and everybody was saying the same thing. And when I became the quirky, you know, just kind of comfortable in my skin, Monica, and I allowed myself to be fully human and fully just, you know, vibe on what I think is funny and what I don't, have a little off color humor, swear a little. That's just who I am. Then that's when I stuck out to people. And that's when people were like, oh, girl, no, let's go. And what we don't realize sometimes is, in business, the deals don't get done at the business table. They get done at social events, right? That's why deals get done on golf courses. That's why they get done in other places. So once I realized that I am smart enough, I am good enough, and the information I have is valuable enough, I don't have to come forward as a serious business person in order for people to respect what I had to say. And that actually they like me better when I have all of my quirks and all of my idiosyncrasies and my little, you know, weird things that I do. That's when I actually started seeing doors open left and right, and them pulling me into the room, as opposed to me trying to push my way into those rooms.
Right. Yeah. So what? Show up, be you, and get paid. Somebody's just
winning combination.
Who says that? Could it be
Colleen? So, yeah. Amy, go ahead.
So for me, you know, a lot of people know my story. If you're watching this, you may not know my story. So I was a speech delay child. So for me to be in communication, it's like, what? But you know, for the longest time, I was more focused on, did the other person like me? Did they get what I said? And you know, worried about how did it look from the other person's standpoint of how I showed up, versus being me. And I remember this was around the time I met Colleen, and I had, I know, one coach, and then another coach helped me to realize that this was disconnected from this. And so when I'm not going to ask you guys to dig for my old videos, but if you look at my old videos from years ago, you know, my eyes, I don't want to say they were dead, but they were definitely, my eyes said something different than what my voice was saying. And it didn't, it just, I don't want to, it was robotic and mousy, and I'm not making fun of myself. It's just that was the developmental stage I had to go through. And then it wasn't until I did the work to connect here to here that I was more comfortable with giving engaging presentations in conversations, not just on stage. And that showed that I was willing to change my energy when I went into a room or went in front of a person, rather than worrying about what everyone else thought. You know, it's just a different way of reframing things, and it really all had to start with me.
Yeah, that's amazing. In being in this community, you know, we've seen people, you know, when you first come into the community. I mean, I've been networking 20 years, so I see it time and time when someone new gets into networking and they start off and they're not sure what they're doing, and you just see that progression and growth and stuff. It's just phenomenal to be able to be part of that and be able to help people, you know, along that journey of it. And because you're growing too, right? It's like, oh, I can mentor this person, and then somebody else is mentoring you, and it's all as a group and a community, you know, pulling everyone up together and be able, and the other thing is, like, other people see the greatness in you before you can see it, right? It's like they can point it out, like somebody's like pointing, like, you know, they're like, oh, this is really where you should be focusing, or this is where you're shining, and it's stuff that you might have a blockage against because you're like, oh no, I can't do that. You know, that's not me, you know, or if you come from corporate, that's kind of like the same thing. Sometimes I get into that professional, like, oh, I need to be professional and this and that. And, you know, it's all this, the limiting beliefs we had in the past, or the, you know, the corporate stuff that we still are dragging along with us, that, you know, you can let go and just say, you know, and just engage with people from where they are, right? And what they need out of the conversation.
Right. Oh, I just want to add one thing. So I came from the world of science and government. And so it was just very academic all the time. So all the presentations were so informational, so beyond informational, that when I was just like trying to figure out what their methods were. And then before we knew it, we were at the, you know, the results, and I'm like, but I'm so stuck in the methods, but now I talk about the results, and now I'm just completely lost. And so that was my world coming in, but it was like, that was what was accepted, you know, like, it's the more information you can pack in and the smarter you sounded, that was what was most important. But then I got into business ownership world and entrepreneurial world, and it's like, no, it's all about engagement. Let's be real. Like, if you're boring, people are going to lose attention. They're going to pick up the phone, like Monica was saying, and they're not going to, they don't even have the excuse of what I had of, I'm trying to figure out what the methods were. Like, no, you just were boring. Like, you're just boring. I'm not going to even remember who you are. I'm not going to follow up. Let's not talk till much later, and things are less awkward.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Sometimes less is more.
Yes.
Yeah, I have that too, because I'm a high knowledge kind of person, so I tend to want to give a lot of information, and I have to, like, read the room or read the person, and if they're a, you know, that action person that wants the 3 bullet points, then you know, you have to adjust to what they want, not how you want to present. So
Exactly.
and
you know, the eyes start glazing over because you're like,
yes,
so yeah, said the wrong word.
Exclamation point! I can't take any more in.
Like, oh, okay, let's change the subject.
Listen to those social cues. Like, if you see someone, just do not ignore those social cues. That's really, really important in presentation.
That's sleeping with your eyes open.
There you go. We've all been there. We've all done it. To write a passage, right? Of you know, presenting.
But we've all done it. We've all given too much information in our presentations. because we felt like we needed to make sure that they knew enough, or that they got the value, or whatever it is. And most of the time when I'm kind of mentoring or supporting someone, it's always like, oh no, you just lost me. You got to act like the person is dumb. They have no idea what this is. And like, scale back. You don't have to prove all the things you know right this second. And so most of the people, especially in our community, we're all information hoarders. We love information. We love knowing, we love being in our craft and knowing all the things about it and all the geeky words and all the, the different ways and modalities. And the other person's like, yeah, that's great. Can you just tell me how to do this?
It's like, it's just to get them to the next step, right?
It's like, know what I'm supposed to do.
Get them to the next step, the next call. It's not like the whole journey. So
yes, exactly. You got to kind of figure out who's willing to go down the rabbit hole with you, and who just need to know like the entrance, like where's the entrance and where's the exit of the rabbit hole. There you go.
Exactly.
There you go. Awesome. Well, I think we have one more question. And it's about keep networking. So who should you ask for help when you're trying to improve and creating engaging presentations?
Oh,
she's like, wait.
I'm like, depending on which squares you're in.
You should ask the community right now. So let's go to Amy first. So who do you ask for help when you want to create those engaging presentations?
So for me, I go to my peers, so people in here, right? I go to my peers, and I also I go to my mastermind, the Milk Crate, because we're all about helping people to hone in on their messaging and actually practice that in the meeting. So then, if I really need help, I will book a spotlight presentation, and I will put everything on the line. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to just embrace whatever feedback I get, and just know that this is coming from a place of support, that this is not going to be perfect, but that way I can improve and then grow from there. Because sometimes receiving feedback can be scary. Like, did they like it? Did they not like it? It's like, okay, you know what? If you start within a inner circle, it's less scary versus, you just go out on stage. You just made the PowerPoint presentation 10 minutes before, and there's no looking back. It's like, no, just do your preparation, get your people together ahead of time, small group. It could be one-on-one, and your little mastermind, whichever one you have, and then practice, get that feedback, then do the real thing.
Yeah. I love that.
Monica, I was gonna say, she's like the queen of like PowerPoints and presentation engaging, and like more than a queen of, a professional person.
So there's this arc, right? So I hate doing presentations. That is not my comfort zone. This is not this space in which we are sitting in, talking to people, strangers, all that other stuff are not necessarily my comfort zone, right? But there's a few things or a few people that are important for your journey to getting comfortable in this space. One is, like Amy said, an amazing group of people who will love you anyway, no matter how horrible you are, right? In the end, if you can sit with someone like who's in that mastermind, you can sit with them, and they can help you really look at, like, are you talking from the heart? Are you hitting your target audience? And what language are you using? Which is what happens in the mastermind. So you should go. Did I get the right direction? No, wrong direction. That is really, really, really helpful. But the other thing is you go to people like Colleen, who will help you figure out kind of what language is working with different audiences. And so learning kind of like their coding or like their personality types and being able to talk to them. And Colleen has wonderful programs that can help you kind of figure that out. And going to people like Peggy, who make sure that you look good coming in, right? So it really does take a village to become an awesome person. If you think any of my stuff looks amazing, I have an amazing village that makes me look better, right? But like Amy said, you have to be open to the feedback. And I would say, I always say I like when people give me feedback because then I have to justify my BS, right? So if I'm saying something and it's like, no, then I have to kind of like dive deeper and explain it better. And in that explaining it better process, you actually get more succinct words, right? You get a better way to explain what you're saying. You
Right.
don't have to use as much colorful language to bring you all the way to the point of making the point. And so kind of getting to those conversations with people who are not just going to say, oh yeah, no, you did good,
Right.
great. They're actually not going to push you forward. You got to really get comfortable with those who can actually push you forward by saying, are you sure? Or that doesn't make sense, or that's not enough, or you didn't go deep enough, or what do you mean by that, or that's not true. And then taking that as a challenge of, no, it is true. Don't back down. It is true. And here's how. And in that process, explaining it to them, you actually find the right words. So don't be afraid to have to justify your BS with
Yes.
people who love you
Right.
and are willing to push you in that direction.
Yes.
Right. The ones that you go, no, just okay, I'll go away. You come back. All right, I'm not mad at you.
I just need some time to myself, and then we can have this conversation in 10 minutes. Like,
That's right. Like, okay. Because they're calling you out on your stuff that you get stuck in, right?
Oh,
and
yeah.
then it's like, okay, all right, I'll do it because like it's
how many
pushing
times
you
have you
past
been like,
that.
you're better than that? Seriously, you're gonna come up and do that. You're better than that. Do better. And like that sucks to hear, but they love you and they wouldn't say it if they didn't. So
right.
Yeah.
I do. I actually starting tomorrow. I am co-hosting a peer-to-peer kind of mastermind. So they have them out there before. I've done them several times, and so where you come, you have a question. You're like, and the same thing. It's like, here's my presentation. Here's my logo. You get different people's perspectives because if you're in one lane and you're trying to market to different people, you want to make sure that you're hearing it from other places because you know what you know, right? So it's like you get comfortable where to the point where I might just do something because I just totally, it's just so ingrained in you that you know it, that it's hard to even explain it to somebody else, right? So you have to have that person with the, a third party eyes come in and look at it and say, oh, well, I don't understand this piece. Well, what do you mean? It seems so obvious, right? When you're doing it every day. But if you're not, and you're trying to explain it to somebody who doesn't, it's great to have those other set of eyes on it. So we do that in the Minkuvator all the time, right? It's like, can you read this email? Can you do this? And it's like, ask people, how's this photo look? Or, and you just get it from a different perspective. And everyone has their own gifts to be able to look at it.
Right. There's I'm sorry, Monica, you were saying?
I was going to say, sometimes what you think you're saying, you're not actually saying. And so being able to have people say, are you trying to say this?
Right.
Is that what you're trying to say? Is really helpful.
Right. That's sometimes what I do when I help my clients reframe. Instead of being like, I don't get it, more like, were you trying to say this or this? Because if that's true, then you did accomplish it. But if you weren't, then something needs to be adjusted. So that's like my Amy way of saying that I don't think that I don't know that came across. Let's just go make it.
There you go. All right, we're having so much fun, but I think we need to move on to the next question. So we are in the game knowledge, because we were just talking about all that, right? So our final thoughts is what is your final tip for growing and delivering a presentation? So what's that thing that you go to? Amy, you want to start us off?
Present as often as you can, because the more you present, the more you're practicing and honing in on your craft. And there's really no shortcut. I mean, you can practice in your room by yourself. That can be part of the process, but it doesn't mean anything. It's very different than, hey, I'm going out there into the world and having 100 conversations in one room, or doing, at least one presentation a week. You have to be out there, and you have to become well versed in different environments with different people, with different formats. Just present as much as possible, so that way you get comfortable, and then you also understand your personal presenting style, because you're not going to find out unless you do it a lot.
Perfect. I think that's great advice. So, Monica.
Okay, so my one tip is to have several individual conversations in the actual group. A lot of the times, with us people who are terrified of the stage or have a hard time giving presentations, or we get all kinds of in our head, just realize that you're really only talking to one person at a time, and find someone to have the conversation with and talk to them for a little while, and then find someone else to have the conversation with and talk to them for a little while. And that really kind of takes the bigness out of the room when you can just find a different set of eyes to look into. What happens with that is not only do you get more relaxed and you can slay the dragon of the fear of talking to a lot of people, but you are also able to really kind of have that person be seen. And it never fails when I focus on different people in the room and I bring them into my presentations. In the end, they come to me and they say, "That was a great presentation. I feel seen and heard by your presentation. I saw myself in your presentation." And it really literally comes from literally looking for eyeballs in the room to connect with, because I am terrified of like looking at the masses of people. So feel that fear, and then try to find people in the audience who you can actually talk directly to one-on-one. Most of us are okay to talk to one person. A lot of us have a harder time talking to multiple. So if you're just talking to one person, it makes it all a little easier.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that's probably what I do and didn't really understand that, because I'm usually like getting like I want to pull engagement from people, like asking questions, and that's what you do. You ask questions, one particular person will answer. So you are having that conversation in that one-to-one kind of thing in the big group piece, and just look at who's in your audience, right? Understand who's in the audience and what are they looking for, and that you're kind of speaking to everyone in the audience, right, at different times. And you can do that, like you were saying, it at different points in your presentation. Just make sure you touch everyone in that presentation.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. So, all right. It's time for announcements. So, yay! All righty. So let's see. I've skipped 2 weeks now. So announcements. So make sure you join us next week, 9 a.m. right on Wednesdays for our brand. Irina will be there. So we will talk. She'll be doing Calibrate Your Life. So Wednesdays, 9 a.m. Pacific time, 12 a.m. Eastern time.
It's a new feature we're working on.
Like, so we can show you, so it's the visual and the vocal at the same time, right? So
Yeah. So what about Amy? What announcements?
Oh,
go ahead, Amy.
Okay, so you can, if you are at a loss for words when it comes to your business, like I don't know what to say when people ask me what I do, then you could book a strategy call with me at that link. I also, at the last minute, I don't know if it's going to make it on the screen, put the link for my mastermind, the Milk Crate. We call ourselves the dress rehearsal for networking groups because it's a place where people can come and they can work on the introductions as well as extemporaneous speaking or speaking off the cuff, as well as how to prepare for questions. So, oh yeah, okay, there you go. There's the thing in the the link to the Milk Crate in the chat somewhere. So book a call with me,
yes,
or you can
definitely book a call with Amy. So,
yay.
Monica, what's going on with you?
Oh, so I am getting ready to do a speaking engagement over in Scotland.
I'm so jealous.
And I, right before the show, realized that I did not make it really easy for you to find that. So if you go to monicamhenderson.com, you can book a call with me, a 20-minute chat, and I'll give you all the details. Or we can, or maybe if it's a few hours later, I will have that link on my actual website and you'll be able to go directly to book a ticket if you're going to be in Scotland. Or if not, if you're curious about just having a chat with me or needing some help or some support or just a business hug, you can book a call with me. I would love to learn about you and your business. And there is where you will find my calendar link to make finding time easier.
Perfect.
Yay!
Your turn.
And for me, I'm Colleen Sturbe, the Follow-Up Fortune Finder, and I would love for you guys to come try out the Fall in Love with Follow-Up experience. We give you a 2-week free trial. This is unlike anything that you've done before in regards to a webinar or stuff. We will actually create it the time and space for you to get your follow-up done. So if you've been struggling after going and having these engaging presentations and then going, oh no, now I have to follow up with them, let us help you do that. We will give you the guidance of the language you need to use and actually have you do it right there and then, so that when you walk out of the webinar, you'll have appointments booked on your calendar.
Love it.
And don't forget that we have the Mingle community. We have your private group apps. We've got all this information community. We would love for you guys to come be part of the community so that you can share all this knowledge and information that we have. And we would love to help you grow your business, and you can help us too. Don't forget that we also have conferences coming up. They will be 2-day conferences. The dates I don't have off the top of my head, but I know it's August and September. And we are excited for you to have those. Those also are things that if you have not been to our conference before, you definitely need to come do the conference. It's totally different than anything you've ever experienced. And don't forget to come hang out with us in the Minkuvator every day. We do a co-working. And as we were saying, if you're in this journey, don't be in it alone. Come with us. We'll help you along the way. And I think that's a show. So if you guys, any other questions, anything off the couch, because put another one in the books. So definitely we would love for you to come be on the couch with us. So if you are excited, you're doing this, come be a guest on the couch so that you can be part of this show. Go to minklifemotivation.com/live, fill out the quick application.
Sweet.
All right.